It's a great evening, everyone. I can understand what has happened. It's been quite a long day. I'm just getting into it. I just had to rush in here because of you guys. This is going to be a follow-up on some of the sessions I've had in the past. And obviously, I've been talking about this in bits and pieces. There are sessions where I talked about scarcity, about how to save or store or save your money in 2024. We also talked about the storehouse. We also talked about grains, buying grains. And this is just more like another session. And this is going to have a bit of a spiritual touch to it. So this is a disclaimer. If you're someone who is not really into all that spiritual stuff, this may be a very good time for you to just slide away, and something more productive for you. Okay. So how do I start? This is not going to be a very long session. It's just to give us, as the intelligence comes, I just try to pin it here. So during the time of prayers, and I've been having these, with regards to national finance, global finance, and all of that. And so I saw the date, which was the 24th of February, 2024. And so it was a dark night. It was a full moon night. And I saw grains on the field. And then there was an icy cold breeze that was blowing over the grain field. Okay. And as the icy cold breeze started blowing, it kind of took away the live grains. It almost kind of like killed the grains. Okay. So some of the intel I got from that is that it is important for people to have saved. It is important for people to have invested. If you have not done all of that up until now, it's not a very good financial strategy, I might say. Okay, so it's very important that you must have saved, you must have invested, or at least have a financial plan for the year. I also remember during one of the financial consulting sessions that I have with some of the people in Lamad Africa, when I was asking them for their financial goals for the future. So what are you planning for 2024 and beyond with regards to your financial goals? And many of them were still focusing their financial goals on money. Money is not wrong. However, with all of the things I've been saying, that the concept of money is going to fail, not just nationally, but globally. If you are still feeling that saving all your money in money form is a very good investment, I'm sorry, it probably means that you've not been listening to some of the things that I've been saying for a while. So the key thing here you need to understand is that you cannot afford to save all your money in Naira. You cannot afford to save all your money in dollars, whether savings or investment. You need to become more creative with that. Now, here are some of the things I mentioned. I'm not going to give you the full gist, obviously, because that was a paid session. However, when we're talking about buying grains, it means that you need to begin to become creative about other ways that are not just in monetary terms. They still fall under the financial canopy. They still fall under securities and some form of insurance, hedges and all, but it is not in money. Okay, so you need to begin to think of what are some of the things that can guarantee a leverage across times of famine, times of scarcity, and all of that. And one of them is relationships. The quality of the relationships you need to have must improve. You cannot afford to continue to dwell with low levelers. That also means that you cannot think of improving your game to go into more high-end people and you're still a low leveler. So that means that you have to step up your game as you seek to improve the quality of the network that you have. This is very important. One of the things that would save people in times of famine is not money, it's relationships with the right kinds of people. So let's take it into the Bible. The reason why the Israelites, that are the sons of Jacob, came to Egypt was because Egypt was productive. They saved during times of plenty, so they had a lot during times of famine. But the reason why Israel actually now got a lot more than they bargained for was because relationship. The brother was the prime minister, even though they did not know it at that time. However, they had a lot of favor. They had a choice location. They have excess more than they wanted because they had relationship with people in the position of power. So it's important for you to also begin to think. I'm not saying you have to be a pest. I'm not saying you have to be a parasite, but you have to begin to improve the quality of the relationships that you have. Okay? And that is where personal economy also comes in. The quality of your economic circle must be such and such that it provides leverage to the right kinds of people. People who have power, people who have authority, people who have resources, people who have wherewithal. That is one of the ways to ascertain that you do not get crushed by the season of famine that we have at the moment. Okay, so some of the things you need to understand when we're talking about grains, grain is also business. Now, one of the things about business that I would say is that I've been an evangelist of this, and that is that the 3 T's. Taxation must be used to your advantage. Tokenization must be used to your advantage. Trading upwards must be used to your advantage. So the way the Naira has been devalued and the way inflation is climbing, I read somewhere that if we're not careful, inflation might rise to about 41% and devaluation might get to about 35%. With that kind of statistics, no, it looks like no one is going to make it. And I always say it, no one is going to make it if Naira is the only currency you are interacting with. You cannot afford to interact with Naira only as the currency of commerce for you. You have to look for a way to get into the dollar market. You have to look for ways to get into the pound market. Now, here's the thing really that a lot of people don't understand. Dollar is kind of like the high-end thing because of dollar kind of was the global currency. However, it is a wise thing for you to do to not focus on where everybody is focusing in. That's one of the best first lessons you learn in investment. Don't always go with the mob. Don't always go with the majority. By the time the majority goes into something, it's almost too late. Okay? So what are other stronger currencies that is not the dollar that have certain qualities, meaning they are more powerful than the Naira, they are more stable than the Naira, they have a lot more in value than the Naira? What are these currencies? And then you study them over the time. It doesn't have to be the dollar. You study them over the while and say, okay, this currency has a bit of stability. Where is the location? Do not go for a currency that is in the West. Talking about US dollars, Canadian dollars, and all of that. I would not advise you to go for that. No, so it might not be the best performing. A currency that, like some of the countries in the BRICS, like the UAE, okay, Brazil, okay, begin to look at these areas. You know, the scripture says that cast your bread upon the waters, and in many days you would find it. Now, a more contemporary translation would say, have foreign investments in diverse places. And so this will save you in times of famine. Everyone who is currently working until the Naira becomes better, until the economy becomes better, anyone who saves or earns in Naira is losing. And so the grain we are talking about now is to begin to look for other opportunities. Now, stocks might be, it has its risk, okay? And so it's important to begin to look at a bit more stable currencies. Now, FX might still be good as long as you hedge it upon a more stable currency that is maybe in the euros or even Russian, the Russian currency. You have to begin to look at it realistically without sentiment. Where is money going to globally? Money moves. And one of the things you have to look at is during times of war, money usually moves towards the winning side. Sorry, sentiment aside, that's the reality. So it might be a very good investment in one of your portfolios to have some form of stocks in the winning side. Okay, as That's just you thinking as a capitalist, okay? And it's very important for you to also begin to see things along this way. So I've talked about business. You cannot be a 9 to 5er. You are losing a lot, especially if your company has not increased your salaries by 50%. It means that you are losing on so many fronts. Because every time you buy something in the market, you're losing. Because imagine if you had 100,000 naira and you used to buy things of 10,000 naira in 10 places before, and now each of those 10,000 have increased by 12%. So that means that maybe now everything that used to be 10,000 naira before, some of them is 12,000, some 15,000, even some 20,000. It means that you cannot buy all the things you used to have the power to buy before. So your purchasing power is greatly reduced. So if you are not making more money, you are losing. There must be something you're doing besides your 9 to 5 that is getting you money. It might not even be up to the kind of salaries that you get, but at least it alleviates something for you. Maybe the kind of money you will have spent buying recharge cards or getting subscription or sorting your utility bills, you get it from the new business. That eases it off of you. So maybe, for example, you need to catch a flight and you know that, okay, just one kind of service can get you the money for the ticket without eating into your salaries. You need to begin to think about ways to earn in multiple areas. And this is the grain we are talking about. Now, the thing about the grain is that because of the nature of the times that we are, you need a storehouse. That means you need lots of grains. You need to begin to think of what are some of the opportunities that you have. What are your skills? What are the leverages? What are the relationships you have? What are the things you can do? Even can you trade your time for some form of money? Maybe, I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe it's content creation, maybe some form of hobby, something you do without stress, something that is a passion of yours. Transform those things into money. We have to begin to look at things from a capitalist sense in this period, because this is a farming season. You might not believe it, you might still be praying about it, but I need you to understand that we're in a season of farming. So you cannot live like you're in a season of abundance. However, it does not mean that because it's a season of famine, you have to suffer. You can still walk in abundance in a season of famine. It just means that you cannot use the thinking of the time of abundance in the time of famine. You have to become more creative. You have to think of what are the levelers you have that would raise you above the famine level. Okay. Obviously, this is a time for collaboration. It's gonna hit more on people who are single. If you're married couples and both of you are working class, obviously it reduces the pressure and the tension. If you have, it's good to have emergency funds as well. Have it in multiple currencies if possible. This is just money you're putting aside for emergency purpose. Maybe you need to buy something for the kids. They increase school fees and you did not plan for it. They increase your house rent and you did not plan for it. So you will not have so much of pressure. All of these are things, if you're actually investment conscious, you should have started doing 2-3 years before now. But this is not the time to beat you up. This is the time, in spite of whatever is currently happening, what can you do? Okay, so when we're talking about grains, what are the different measures you can have in such a way that it creates a hedge for you? It creates a form of insurance. It does not allow you to suffer as much as the rest. Okay, and so some of the things I've mentioned are very important. You cannot also take away the spiritual side. You can get favor from God and from men. And so some of the things you need to put into your prayers, it's not just God give me money. Remember, if you are thinking only about money this age, you are not thinking well. I'm sorry to say. Think of relationship, think of ideas, think of connections, think of access to locations, think of access to industries, think of access to corridors of power. These are the things you need to begin to centralize your confessions and prayers onto. So favor with God, favor with men. You have another, pray for better business opportunities that will allow you to earn more, access to decision makers, access to HNIs, access to people with resources, people that need the talent, the hobbies, and the things you can do readily. You can begin to pray for that. access to locations that would put your products in high supply or high demand. Begin to pray about those things. These are some of the things you need to begin to condition the spiritual template and the spiritual atmosphere in order to make things happen. It's important for you to note that the time of famine is a time of warfare. So you cannot live like you are not fighting. So you cannot just live life scrolling through Instagram, wasting time, and not having a value equivalent of time that is spent. Okay, you need to begin to do this. If you have not, if you had a financial plan at the beginning of 2023, you have to revise it. You really do have to revise it. If at this time you don't have like a financial mentor or coach or someone, it's not the best time for you. Someone you can leverage on their exposure information, access to information about finances, economic matters, that will tell you things beforehand. Things like you've got to stock up. What are some of the things you actually should buy? Okay, these are important pieces of information. So I would, for example, in the Lamada Africa community, it is not economically or commercially wise to, if you're in Lagos, to buy things in bulk in Lagos. However, so like I share the contact of someone in Jos where things are still relatively cheaper. And so people in the community could pull funds together and buy things in bulk from somewhere like Jos and bring it to Lagos and share it. Okay, so these are intelligent ways of reducing the level of expenses that you make. So don't buy things in smaller quantities this period. Buy in larger quantities so that you can have wholesale advantage. If you don't have all the money, collaborate with people. Who are the people that need to buy meat in big, so cut it into places? Maybe it's fish you eat. Maybe it's, okay, maybe not vegetables, but some of the essential things that maybe the children will have to eat, cereals and all of those things. Begin to think in terms of wholesales, okay? So this is how to gravitate towards grains, and make sure that you're able to survive the times that are coming. This is not the end of it. Every time there is a new piece of information that I believe that can be very useful to you, I'll try as much as possible to share, to share that with you. So I think this is all at the moment. If there are more information, you can always connect to the WhatsApp channel or in Lamada Africa, or even sometimes on my status. I'm benevolent enough to share some of these things. But I will always say these things. The three important areas of your life you need to master are your spiritual sides, the spiritual acumen, financial acumen, and political acumen, in that order. Many of you are thinking of traveling out, and the reason why there's a limitation to your traveling is because the only thing limiting you is money. You're not thinking of relationships. You're not thinking of sponsorships. You're not thinking about political affiliations that could, by interest on certain agendas, could send you out there. Don't let money be the only thing that limits you. The poorest people in this season are people that the only thing they have, the only leverage they have is money. So think beyond money. Think relationships, think business, think time, think skill, and begin to see how you can trade all of these things and get money, but not just money in Naira only, in every available areas, okay? So just think about these areas, and if you've got any questions, you can always hit me up. I'll be more than happy to respond to you, okay? Yeah, so I wish you all the best in this season. Continue to strive, continue to thrive. This is not a time to suffer. Change your mentality, guys. Remember, what you focus your attention on is what you will become. So don't focus your attention on, things are hard, things are difficult. Focus your attention on, in spite of what is happening, a lot of people are making the millions, the billions, they're making the business deals, they're earning in dollars, they're getting to remote jobs. These are the kind of people you need to begin to as a savior, okay? All right, then. So we're going to see on the other side, and I really do wish you all the very best. God bless you, and then we'll see on the other side. Ciao.